Let's move on now to the Los Angeles Chargers in our 2023 NFL Draft review. But before we get into that, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button and also like this video and ring that bell to get notified when we create new Chargers content or just general content about the Los Angeles Chargers in general. We are trying to get to 2,000 subscribers by the start of the 2023 NFL season. So hitting that subscribe button is the easiest way to help us reach our goal and also the easiest way for you to see future Chargers content. And with that being said, Ryan, let's get into it. So the Los Angeles Chargers, actually, that's funny. Just not realizing this, they no trades, very if when it comes to any excitement or changes or mixing things up, very boring. They picked either 22nd or 23rd in each round, and then just moved on. And half of those picks were from the TCU Horned Frogs region, and so like they really like I guess players that play national championship games. So
yeah, but that's not a bad place to pull players from. So
no, it's not a bad place to pull, especially too with kind of what they're looking for. And we'll get. I mean, there's not too much to say really about Max Duggan. I get it.
He won't make it, but
no, well, but it's like you draft his number one and number two receiver. So like just on an off chance, like if you want a backup quarterback for a third stringer or something like that. But we'll get into that later. Let's get right into it with their first pick with Quentin Johnston. I like that they went receiver here. This will be very interesting over the years to see because Jackson Smith-Njigba was going to be the number one receiver. I never would have thought that he would have gone to Seattle, but he was going to be the number one receiver taken off the board. That wasn't up for debate. But then it's going to be interesting, though, to kind of see how this season and the next season go because the Chargers they had the option of everybody else and went with Johnston here. And me personally, I've been a little bit critical of Johnston just because when I see him on tape, I wasn't very impressed. Like, obviously, he has all the intangibles, but if you look, half of his production was in 3 or 4 games against teams that weren't really that great. The Michigan game, half of his yards were off a bubble screen, 75-yard touchdown pass that had a missed tackle. So it's like it's a
crosser, but sure.
Oh, crosser. Sorry, but it wasn't like, and it's a poor comparison. Well, it wasn't like Jackson Smith-Njigba in 2021, who is possession guy, can go and get touchdowns, 1,600 yards, burn guys, get people open.
Absolutely. So I'm very lit Utah up in a bowl game.
Absolutely. So it'll be curious to kind of see how his development goes because I think you look at it now, he is a very athletic receiver. Then you got your 2 X receivers on the outside with Mike Williams and Josh Palmer. And I say Josh Palmer specifically, assuming then that Keenan Allen will eventually move on from the organization after this season or maybe in the future years. So seeing his development, I think, is obviously going to be crucial because I do still think he needs some work because he has that NFL talent. He has the NFL specs.
Definitely. And that, to me, if you watch some of our mock drafts, I actually had Quentin Johnston going 18 to the Detroit Lions in the last 2 mock drafts. And the reason why was because you already have established receivers there who can run those complex routes. And Quentin Johnston can kind of become more of the, all right, well, we'll just run them on deep crossers and try to turn everything into a foot race or get him the ball on a screen or on a crosser and just see if he can break a tackle or 2 and take it to the house. And then while that is happening behind the scenes, you are working on his route running and the finer parts of his game just to get him to have a more well-rounded game. So then in year 2 and 3, when Keenan Allen isn't there and maybe Mike Williams' production drops off a little bit, he can take a step into that role and run those more complex routes and fill in where he's needed. And I think the Chargers is that place for him, right? Yeah. He's going into a very veteran wide receiver room. I think Justin Herbert is one of the best young quarterbacks in the league and is going to be able to get him the ball even in tight windows, which is one thing that we really want to see Quentin Johnston improve upon is his contested catches. He only caught like 34%. And for a guy that's 6'3", 215, that's absolutely horrible. And so, especially when you have guys like Zay Flowers, Josh Downs in this class who are 5'9", 178 pounds, catching 65% of their contested catch balls. And it's like, all you got to do is like extend your arms up, man. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So, I like that pick a lot. I think it's going to pay dividends in the future. It might not be the most impactful first round pick that we'll see, but it'll pay dividends in the future. But I think they did a really good job of getting players that are going to come in and play day one on day two.
Yeah.
So starting out, Tuli Tuipulotu and Diane Henley, defensive end and linebacker, two essential positions to this defense. They have struggled against the run the last couple years, and I'm hoping these guys are the beginning of a turning of the tide for this run defense in Los Angeles.
Yeah, this will be because I was thinking about it is like you can make a case, I would say, maybe to keep kind of increasing the offensive line, but outside of receiver, like I think they have a lot of good players in the majority of their positions, but adding key depth to help with the run it was crucial, and I think these two guys do it as well. And so I agree with that point completely. Tuli is a huge defensive end. It's funny they have him listed as an offensive linebacker on ESPN,
Outside
and I'm like,
linebacker.
sorry, outside linebacker, and so, but he's the biggest outside offensive linebacker that I have ever seen. If he actually is. So I think honestly putting him on the opposite side of Joey Bosa or just mixing him in there, and I think he can be a great rotational piece, especially this rookie year. Same thing with Diane Henley.
Yeah. No, I like both of those guys. And then another guy that I really liked, also a wide receiver from TCU, was Darius Davis. If you watched TCU play, Darius Davis really was kind of the true possession receiver, more of the go-to guy than Quentin Johnston was at TCU. He's only 5'8", about 175 pounds, but he does have the elite quickness that you want from a guy like that, and really solid hands. I like that pick. I think it's really solid value there. Maybe a little high, but I think you look at the receivers that were starting to go in that area, and I think he was on that caliber. So I like that pick. And then last three picks here, Jordan McFadden, the guard from Clemson, did play tackle, but I think they're going to kick him into guard. Scott Matlock, defensive tackle from Boise State, and then Max Duggan, the quarterback from TCU. So that completes their draft. The Max Duggan pick to me is interesting. I don't think he'll make it, but
well, right now they have Easton Stick as their second string quarterback. Maybe if they want to have a practice squad QB. Also, I could see it being if you have him on the practice squad and then you want to get reps with Quentin Johnston and Darius Davis, getting them used to the offensive system. Also, too, like come rookie camp, it's like these guys already have a connection with one another, and like they've been throwing for the past couple of years now. And so, if you're looking at that route, I could see it. Or maybe they just wanted to, or maybe they liked what they saw from Max Duggan, just to maybe take a flyer on him just in case and like his hustle. I could see him maybe with how physical he is, like maybe they can move him around, maybe have like a Tim Tebow, Felipe Franks, Taysom Hill type attitude around. So I think that could be interesting, but I mean, who only the Chargers truly know. So but in general though, I like the draft. Let's move on to the grades here. I for the first time actually in a long time, I gave them a little bit of a lower grade than you did. But to me, I graded everything on a curve, and so it was like was an A+. Everyone else was lower than that, and then they try to figure it out from there. And I like their draft. Like I give it a B. I think it was just a good average draft. I think that they added players to positions of needs or players that could contribute depth pieces from day one. But there wasn't anything that really was like a wow, So I would love to see this grade go up. It absolutely can, especially if Quentin, Tuli, Diane are all just absolute bangers. Come day one and contribute and start they stop the run on defense, and then if Quentin Johnson is a physical freak that no one can stop, and him and Justin Herbert just kick it off, then that could absolutely go up to an A or an A+. So because there's not really too many needs that this Chargers team is looking for. They just need to find a way to win the big games, and that's something that you're not going to be able to find here in the draft, I feel.
Yeah, no. So I agree. I like this a lot. So ironically, I think Quentin Johnston has less of a first-year impact than Tuli Pelotu and Diane Henley do. But the
Mhm.
long-term value, I think, of Quentin Johnston is going to be much higher. So I think you have 3 really good value picks.
Yeah.
And then I actually really like Darius Davis. I think Jordan McFadden is solid guard depth, which they needed all of last year.
Mhm.
And then uh, the other 2 picks intrigue me, especially the Max Duggan pick. I think that's definitely intriguing for fans. But I ended up going with a B plus. I felt you get 3 really solid value picks plus 2 to 3 more
Mhm.
solid backup picks. I think that deserves an above average grade for me. So
Yeah. No, that's fair.
uh, I really like what they have going for them. Kind of what you said. I think 2023 is really going to come down to, can they win the close games, right? And we've seen that a little bit with Brendan Staley. Is, can he get the analytics out of his head a little bit and
Yeah.
kick the field goal on 4th and 5 from 40 yards out, or maybe punt the ball when you're at midfield instead of trying to go for it and pin the other team deep in their own territory. So I think
Yeah.
there's minor decisions like that that are really going to contribute a lot to
Mhm.
if the Chargers are successful or not.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, the team's there. They have it. It's just it's just piecing all together at the right time.
Yeah. Yeah. But let's go ahead and wrap up the Chargers 2023 draft recap there. If you guys have not already, please go down below and like and subscribe and smash that bell to get notified when Tyler and I create new content. And other than that, we will see you guys next time.